right. Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Katie Cato, and I am the president of the Palm Beach County SHRM chapter. And I'd like to welcome you all on a Thursday night. Unfortunately, my camera keeps stuttering, so I'm hoping that when it pauses, it doesn't pause when I have one of those really silly looks on my face. Thankfully, you can mute my picture out, and you can pay attention to our other co-presenters. So we're super excited. The Palm Beach County chapter is super excited to partner with Encore PBC. Um, and in this presentation, we're going to be talking about what does it mean to be age friendly, and really engaging in dialogue with each of you. Our co-presenters and the person who's going to take the lead in just a moment in running the meeting is Christine Cottagio. She's going to be kind of taking the lead and asking questions and generating interest. Also with us this evening is Michelle Moran, and also Shannon Armstrong, and I'll let them say a few quick words to say hello and say hello.
Hello, thank you for inviting us to be on the panel. I'm
Yay.
Shannon.
And Michelle, a few quick, oh, you're frozen too. Oh, there we go.
Can you
There
hear me now?
Yeah, perfect.
Yes, we can.
So this evening's topic
I'm Michelle.
Yeah, go for it, Michelle. Lovely.
Oh, I didn't have anything else. Sorry.
So I think on my end, it may be skipping. So I think the good thing is we have Christine who's going to take a lead with this evening's presentation. But on behalf of the PBC SHRM chapter, I would like to welcome you. There's one gentleman whose name is Katie Cato. I don't know if you wanted to. I don't know if you want to fix the name just so I can welcome each of you. But I do see Doreen and Yanni and Vicky and Rosemary. Oh, I'm so excited. Rosemary, you're on the call. Couldn't be more delighted. Yay. I see Eduardo and Michelle Hoff and Judy. And then I see Peter and Rebecca. Oh, look at that. Both of you with ESGR in the background. Love that. Josette, good to see you again. And I don't see, but I see the name Remus and Kim Beckett are I was going to say professor. Wow, Kim, you've been promoted in a funny way. Our presenter for our February meeting, and then Remus again. Okay, wonderful. And then the gentleman who's there we go, Jeffrey. Yay! Thank you so much. So welcome everybody to the meeting, and I wanted to just go ahead and open it up with kind of a dialogue or discussion on what does it mean to be age friendly, either at your employer or things that you have seen that have done well, or questions that you may have.
If it's okay, are you directing that to anyone in particular, or can I just jump in?
I say go for it.
Awesome. Okay. So I'm Shannon Armstrong. I'm super excited to be participating this evening. I am the director of HR in Martin County Schools. And what it means to be age friendly is, to me personally, is just understanding the value of just experience, right? And it doesn't even necessarily have to be experience in the field that somebody might be looking into. I have a great story about a particular lady that came to a job fair recently. And she said to me, she said, I drove past this building so many times, and the lifetime of my children all going to school. And I got a master's degree. I've got all these things, but yet she never worked. She supported her children, helped her husband, that kind of stuff. And she walks in and she says, I don't know what to do. And recognizing that she has this amazing talent, amazing ability, but yet never had a job in what we would consider a capacity, and just saying, how can I help you find your place within our building? And so taking the time to listen to her story, look at the things that she's done in the past, whether it's volunteer work or helping her husband, and then finding a fit. And knowing that within this human that's standing in front of me, there's a talent that could be grasped and could be used. And now she's just this amazing worker, right? So recognizing that we all have certain talents, and sometimes it might be even in a different field altogether than what they may have done in the past, or maybe they just have no experience at all. But knowing that we could maybe help direct or help nurture that hidden talent that's just sitting there. So recognizing that, I think, is really what it is as an employer, to know that no matter the age, but in particular, someone who comes in with life experience, they can really offer a lot.
Did they apply for a job at your company? Is that how you got to know
Actually,
them?
they just walked in. It was a pop-up job fair and they saw the sign and driven past the district office so many times. And their son had said, it was the youngest and he'd gone off to college, and she just said, I just thought it was time, and she wanted to get a job. So she had no idea what she wanted to do. She didn't even know if she wanted full-time or part-time. I mean, it was literally, she came in and it was kind of at the mercy. And we had a number of conversations and a resume update, and then eventually a position. So it took a while. It didn't happen right away, but we were able to find her something within the building.
And in that particular case, it was a matter of you not assuming that they were at a certain stage in their career based on what appeared to be their physical age, and really looked at what their career interests may be based on who they were as a person, as opposed to maybe what they had accomplished.
That's exactly it, because her husband owned a gas station and he had done that for many, many years. And here she is with an MBA. And she tells me as I'm talking to her that she has this accounting experience and she's done books for her husband. I'm like, that's some serious books, right? But yet she never really kind of felt that it was a career for her or validated her or whatever, as far as that life experience. And she kind of just came in with her hat in hand, for lack of a better way to say it, and just said, I don't know what I can do. And she was willing to take anything, secretarial, whatever, just to gain the experience she needed, which I love, because she came in with an open mind. I have to confess, I would not be in education if I didn't try to get her to be a teacher. She said, she did say, no, I will not teach in a classroom. So I did not get her into a teaching position, but anyway, it was a great conversation, and it warms my heart because I think that really is the purpose, right? To have that open mind. My predecessor and some other people I've worked with in the past are more of the mindset, when we are a large employer, that we're not here to be like a career source or something like that. But I kind of disagree. I feel like people come to me sometimes. I was at a meeting at a town hall last night, actually, and somebody approached me and said, listen, I'm a retired teacher, but I've been thinking about coming back. I'd like to work in HR. And just, I love that, because you're developing conversation, you're finding out what their skill sets are. And you know what? A lot of times what they think is HR may not be HR, but it's good to have that conversation so that maybe I can help direct. And I actually have a lot of excitement behind that, because I view it as we're changing people's lives. We're giving people an opportunity that could potentially change their life. It's very exciting to me, but I also take it as a responsibility thing too.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
all right. Yeah, as a former company president, I just wanted to comment that your story, absolutely love the initiative of this person. And I'm glad you saw that, because this is the thing. It's like, and I know this is a group of HR professionals, and I'm, getting acquainted with you all. And we do have a way of doing things within our organizations. You submit your resume, you get the interview, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, when I was running my company, if somebody came in and walked off the street, even if I had a job post or not, depending on their energy, their vibe, how they carried themselves, are you kidding me? That was literally like gold falling out of the clouds. I was like, thank you. Because the people that always follow the proper protocols, which we create them, don't get me wrong, they're there for a reason, but the ones who have just a certain way about them and are able to just shake your hand, look you in the eye, and introduce themselves, and you just know you have someone special standing in front of you. That's precious. So I love hearing the story you just shared. That's yeah. I hired several people that way, so
thanks. And I love your enthusiasm. I can't help but know that the next gem is around the corner. And that's kind of why I like the whole concept of a pop-up fair, because sometimes you do just have that gem walk in.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to add, you are all Wisdom and Experience Award winners. And so you all recognize the value of exactly that type of experience. And that's where Encore fits in, is really promoting the employers who do recognize that talent and the wisdom and experience of the 50+ community. So I'm just going to throw that in here right now, just for you to explain to us, how did you feel the Wisdom and Experience Award and participating in that might have impacted your organization, or maybe did you do something different as a result of being introduced to that award? Katie, we'll start with you.
All right. Well, I would be delighted to share the story because I had only just joined my organization, Broward Health, as their Chief Human Resources Officer. Had only been with the company for a short time, but I was blown away at the length of employment that the employees had within our organization and some of the initiatives that the organization did to be able to really recognize longevity for employees. So I nominated them, and then I started learning more about the stories and the employees that had been with us. I went to a service award ceremony, and they had been with us 20 years. Okay, 30 years. Okay, 40,
Wow.
50, 60 years. We had people that had been with us for over 6 decades, which means that they had spent basically their entire career. So that meant that they stayed for a reason, and we continued to find value in their experience through their entire employment experience. And then just to be able, I mean, I am over 50, so to know, and they hired me, so it can't be all that bad. They were they were very accommodating. We have a category, for example, called per diem retired. And that category, that employment status, literally allows employees who have experience to stay affiliated with the company, but to retain in a per diem capacity, to be able to provide consultation and a connection to how things are done within the organization. That blew me away. Like, to be able to keep that link with the history and the depth of the experience of the company. So you can see this is literally my office. I'm sitting here now. I've had that award up. I'm so proud of it. It's the only time I've ever in my life won an award of any kind. I cried when I got it, and it meant the world to me. And Rosemary, I know you're on the call, and Christine, Rosemary, the work that you're doing to be able to emphasize the value of our mature workers, I think just cannot be understated. I'm a huge fan of your organization. And one thing that my company did since then is they actually did a webinar, a diversity webinar to all of our employees on the value of the mature worker. It's like, are you kidding me? Seriously? So there, I just had to say that.
That's great. That's great to hear. Great to hear. How about you, Michelle?
I'll piggyback off of Katie. One word, retention. Absolutely. When running the reports in preparation for this meeting, I found that our average length of employment for our workers over 40 was 12 and a half years. Under 50, I'm sorry, over 50. Under 50, it is about 6. I work at a private country club. We're in the hospitality business, and average tenure in that industry is under 12 months. So to have workers that have been with us for 12 and a half years, it's amazing. They are mentors and coaches to our younger generation. There's great sharing of different perspectives and innovation, and just really do bring a wealth to the workplace.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think that's really what it is that we are trying to express, especially with the Wisdom and Experience, is especially with the demographics changing, and we have such an older market. And so many of retirement age who may not be retiring because they can't afford to, or because they just don't want to. And as you all mentioned, they bring a wealth of value. So aside from what was already mentioned, is there any other reason that you could see the benefits of being an age-friendly employer? Shannon?
So you're going to probably start catching on that I'm kind of a hands-on kind of gal. So I'm going to give you another hands-on kind of conversation. So we do frequent pop-ups, and we do get a lot of walk-ins. And as much as I'd like to tell you that story that I shared earlier, we actually get a lot of those. And this one in particular kind of ties into why I think Wisdom and Experience is so important, but also the need, right? And so here's the need. A gentleman comes in, older guy, but I'm having a conversation with him and he's highly skilled. He's like a chef. He's got tons of experience and all this stuff, but he confides in me. And that's, I have that kind of personality. You know, I run job fairs a little different. There's some people that talk to people, but I have a chair and I sit down and I just like, let's have a conversation. Tell me about yourself. What do you got? So he confides in me. I'm a chef. I got all this experience. I already have a full-time job, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, my wife is ailing. We can't afford the rent anymore. And we're having this honest conversation. And it's like, I have this, you know, they have this thing called Clifton Strengths. One of mine is responsibility. I'm strategy, ideation, right? So I feel a sense of responsibility. I'm already connecting with this gentleman. And I'm like, let's talk. Let's think what we can do. And you know what? He wanted some kind of a part-time job so he could meet that rent. And I was able to find him after good conversation to attach him to another person who is hiring for substitute kitchen help, chef work. And so recognizing that if you have the humanity, which is something I'm really big about, of taking the time to listen to someone's story and finding out how you can help them meet their need is a huge thing, right? And so I take that not lightly. I take that extremely, like, that is who I am, and that's why I do what I do, right? And so then we can help this man meet a need. Does it solve the problem that I think rent is too high and it's unfair? No, I can't change that. That's what other people need to do. But what I can do is connect him to somebody that can help him meet his need. And he's still an employee. He's been with us for a few years now, and he only works 1 to 2 days a week for a few hours, but it's helping him meet that rent. And that's, you know, that's a win. That's why it's important to recognize that wisdom and experience works, but it's also good to utilize our own wisdom and experience. You know, I was hired into the education field at 42. I never worked in education before that. I was an auto adjuster in an insurance world. So I got my master's degree when I was 50. I graduated from college when I was 30. So I'm a huge advocate of just listening, providing the humanity that's involved in all of this, and helping somebody find maybe an opportunity, maybe make the rent, or maybe just change their life in a different way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you realize that all of our life experiences put together is why we are where we are now. Like, that's why you're in the position you're in right now and appreciating it so much. But, you know, maybe if you look back, maybe 20 years ago, you wouldn't have had the same value on what you're doing now, because you wouldn't have had all of that experience to bring to the table.
It made me scrappy. It did, right? Because it took me 11 years to get my bachelor's. You know, I was 30 years old, 9 months pregnant with my third child. You know, I got my Juris Master's from Florida State College of Law when I was 50, and that was in the year of COVID. So yes, it did. It gave me depth and appreciation for the work that people have to put in to get to where they are. So yes.
I love it. I love it. We do have a couple of hands raised, so I'm going to start with you, Eduardo.
Wonderful. I just would love to ask Shannon if she'd like to move to Broward County. We need you here, Shannon. We're desperate for someone like you. And I'll tell you why. I am a U.S. Air Force veteran, you know, just with a ton of experience in 10 different startups with a master's degree. And I've been retired for about 10 years or so, but I approached the school district of Broward County, and they just never paid any attention to my background, my education, the fact that I am bilingual. And I only wanted to basically assist a teacher with a Spanish class, couple of days a week, nothing. I served as a board member for Career Source with the existing superintendent of schools in Broward County, Pete Licata. I had to write a letter to Pete saying, Pete, can somebody from Human Resource get back to me? No one, no. And all of a sudden, that letter went to Human Resource. Somebody says, I've heard that you need some help. I said, yeah, but it's Christmas time. Can you call me back? Nobody, it's now almost March. Nobody's ever called me back. So I gave up on it. But I think that there are some incredible people in your database, okay, that nobody reaches out to. And it's such a shame because sometimes I feel that you're desperate for teachers, but nobody's looking at your database. And there are some incredible people. Matter of fact, the only letter that I received that they were going to pull my name out of the database because they haven't found anything in over a year and a half or so. Okay, thank you. But
Eduardo,
Shannon, we need you
I
in
don't
Broward
wanna-
County.
I don't want to monopolize, but I will put my email in this chat and I would love to talk to you further. And one thing I am is a connector. I do know people in Broward and I do know people in Palm Beach. So whether it's the right opportunity, I'd be happy to help connect you. So I'll drop it in the chat. Okay.
We love you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Eduardo. Yanni, I see you've had your hand up. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, you did. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I wanted to go back to the original question of why what was the original question? I forgot. Something about the age-friendly environment.
Mhm.
I think even socially, it is important for employers to, do whatever they can to help mature adults continue to be productive and contributing members of society, because otherwise they'll be sitting at home getting depressed, dying younger than what they're supposed to. So I think, so we've already covered the benefit of having a multi-generational workforce, the wisdom that they bring in, the mentorship, building the new generation of leaders with their experiences and their wisdom. We've talked about that, but I also see the social component and preserving them, their health, their mental health. It's very difficult to find in this society employers that, because as an HR professional, we hear all the time the benefit, and we train on managing a multi-generational workforce. But in reality, how many leaders out there do an effective job in leading a multi-generational workforce? What I have seen is that if the leader is in the 30s, she or he is going to gravitate to the members in that team that share their age, because I've seen that. So the practicality of what HR professionals hear about managing a multi-generational workforce, it's not 100% there. So I think we still need to do a lot of training, a lot of consciousness, and awareness, because there's a lot of really, what's the word, mockery and ridiculing the elderly. A lot of jokes, a lot of innuendos. Oh, so and so, they're not techie. Oh, they're whatever. And we know better. As HR professional, we know that we're not supposed to be allowing people to speak like that of other peers and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't have the answers. I'm just throwing out there what I have seen, what I have experienced, and how also employers can help the elderly remain productive, healthy, and engaging in this society. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yanni. And actually, you're kind of hitting Jeffrey and Judy. I see your hands. Just hold that for a minute. based on what you said, number one way you can change that is to stop using the word elderly, because it actually is, well, talking about, diversity and inclusion, it's an offensive word to someone who is 70, maybe even 75, who's active and vital and working. And when they hear that, I can say myself included, I'm not elderly. Okay, I may be older in age, but I'm not elderly. And so that does something to the psyche as well. So that's one thing you could do. And my next question that I wanted to put out there was, how do you consider the age diversity in your recruitment processes? So I'm just going to throw it back to the panel for a minute, and then we'll get back to Jeffrey and Judy. So Michelle, would you like to take that one?
On how it is we connect? I'm sorry. Is that what you said?
Yeah. How do you use or consider age diversity in your recruitment process?
Yeah, we have an amazing referral program at my employer. So word of mouth has always worked in our favor. We also have many diverse positions within the country club. So it's attractive on many levels as far as the skill set, the physical demands of the job, the flexibility of the schedule. So over time, in addition to what we offer, which I feel is a very comprehensive benefit package to our employees, we have honed in on a few things for, our employees over 50, such as we offer a Medicare readiness seminar every year. We now have changed our retirement eligibility to 60 days versus 12 months. Which was huge. They can start, saving for retirement that much earlier. We have also offered remote work opportunities for specific positions, for not every employee, of course. And then we just try to celebrate our employees of all levels. Our retention has been high, as I mentioned, for those over 50. So when we hold our 20-year milestone anniversary celebration every year, 75% of those employees are older workers. So I think just adding it to what we would typically offer has certainly helped us to gain even more employees in that, work demographic.
Katie, how about you? Would you like to add to that?
Sure. I don't know. Can you hear me without it switching? Because I know what I can see, my picture's all stuttered, but can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we can.
So I can tell you, I, for example, right now have a vacancy within my department, and I'm noticing some changes in the way that candidates present themselves. Since I'm actually looking, not just as an HR person, but actually someone that has an opening. And I think it's really important to make sure that we don't fall into the traps of looking at experience and education, based on how many years or, kind of the standard criteria. You have to really look at the depth of what the experience is, and really consider the way that the candidate presents themselves in terms of what they do. I know somebody told me I need to take the years that I graduated from college off of my resume, because now they can see how old I am. And in my days, when you showed that you had been with an employer for 8 years, that was a good thing. Now, if you have 3-4 employers that you've been at for 8 years, you're old. You're not just a long-term employee, but so you have to look at things differently. When I'm looking at the resumes, I'm looking for people that stay for, and I said that tongue in cheek, Christine, so please know I'm not trying to call myself old. But you have to look at the candidates and the way that they present themselves in a different way. You have to have an awareness of the value that a mature worker brings to the workforce. Some of the stability, some of the, candidly, a lot of the less challenges that you face during, younger years, I don't face any longer, because I am now a mature worker. So there's so many things that you can bring to the employer setting that you need to recognize when you're looking at your candidate pool. So that's my quick update. Not so quick.
It's great. Shannon, would you like to add to that?
Sure. So the question was the diversity of recruitment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is, so I'm a Lean Six Sigma gal. Okay. I'm a black belt. So I'm process improvement. I'm always looking at different ways. So when I came into my role in Martin County, they did not have a director of recruitment and retention. I've since been promoted. I'm now the director of HR, but at the time I came on board director of recruitment and retention. And the biggest thing I had is they have almost 3,000 employees, and we had a lot of vacancies in instructional, but also in operation. And I'm like, kind of just strategy. How do I find the people? Where do I go? How do I access them? And honestly, I just had diversity of thought. And that was like, I'm going to go find them. Where are they? So, you know what I did? I joined Chambers. I joined Martin County Leadership. I visited the VA. I went to the United Way. I went to the Salvation Army. I went to the Kane Center, which is a retirement area. I was in parades. I went to Career Source and did job fairs. I created flyers. I thought not just diversity in place, but diversity in function, right? That's how I implemented pop-ups. That's how we implemented Zoom recruitment information sessions. And then we did stuff at colleges. So really just trying to think about meeting people where they're at so that they know we're looking for them.
Shannon, you're amazing. To have to say that. Incredible.
Thanks. I'm pretty passionate about it, but I credit that to my wisdom and experience. It works.
It works. It works. I like that. Can we coin that phrase? Wisdom and experience. It works. It is kind of catchy, actually.
Yes.
That's Shannon, that's a heck of a recruitment strategy right there.
Yeah, there you go.
Talk about diversified approach. Wow.
And it's kind of, I gotta be honest. I mean, I actually literally just had this conversation with my daughter because I struggle. I'm ideation. That's one of my strengths. I'm a strategize. I think, how can we do better? But when you work with people that are a little younger, I can become across as aggressive and controlling and whatever. And it's struggling for me because I kind of know the answer already, but allowing them the space because it's a little different when you're dealing with younger folks. And so it's I have to stretch myself, and that's probably an advice piece to those of us that are a little older. And I just turned 53. But just recognizing that in the workplace, I mean, I know this isn't one of your questions, but it is harder, right? It's harder because you do have that experience and people don't recognize it. And it's very frustrating sometimes, but that's the kind of advice to us is sometimes I just have to allow them to fail or make those mistakes or be a little gentler. So it's something that I myself work on. Thanks for the feedback. If anybody's ever read it, I have. We all, you know, it's a good book. But yeah, it's, I love ideas. I love to do better. But then I also, am a personal accountability person. So if I've done it before and it's successful, I want to help train others to do it too. And then keep a cadence of it so that we continue to do it. It's not just a one-off. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Jeffrey, sorry to keep you waiting. You had a question?
Yeah, no, I actually have a few things here because I've heard so much good stuff. I just want to make a few comments is like, well, with what Yanni had mentioned earlier, where do I want to begin? I have one from Yanni and one for the general topic here. So, well, here, let's go to the general topic with agent within the workforce is, you know, as somebody who's been in the corporate world, an entrepreneur, a founder, a president, and now a performance coach, working with executives, entrepreneurs, and their teams, their company teams, I can say right now, as clear as day, having been on both sides, that any company that is using age as a way to keep people out is losing a competitive edge 110%. At the end of the day, somebody who has experience and that can bring that to the team, that is vital. Because here's the thing, like I'll share this with you, is because I'm on social media and whatnot, and I'm sure some of you are too, Facebook, Instagram, and all that. I see advertisements popping up all the time from like 19, 20-year-olds, which there's nothing wrong with this, but They're going to coach me on business. They're going to coach me on entrepreneurship. They're going to coach me on life. I'm sorry, but you're 19 years old. I'm 48. I've been to 29 countries. I've had 9 near-death experiences. Well, you know, you got to live life. You got to have experience to have that wisdom and that perception and to be able to see things from a certain way, to be able to really appreciate all the nuances that go in. And that's the thing, when you bring on somebody who has experience, now bear in mind, I'm not saying that, you know, you say just because you're older, I'm not going to look at your experience. No, you have a job that needs to be filled. If somebody's checking these boxes and they're capable to do that position and you get the benefit of experience, oh, come on, stop. You're winning the damn lottery right there. You know, and if they can get in, and that's also too going to be a role model for the younger generation to look up and see, because they're going to be able to say, hey, look at this person. They're in this company. They're doing A, B, and C jobs. They've been to this. Like, I can't speak for other people out there, but I can speak for myself. When I was a kid, when I was under 30 years old, it was probably so annoying to people that were older than me because I asked a million questions. I wanted to know about this. Oh, you were in Africa? Where? Like, I remember once I met a French guy. He was from France. He was born in the Congo. Well, his family was from France. He was born in the Congo. He served in the French Foreign Legion, somehow wound up in Brazil, then wound up on a merchant ship. And now he's doing like all kinds of leadership coaching for an organization. I'm like, I need to know your story. Can we sit down? I'll buy you lunch. It's just fascinating. So I think when you can bring in people with experience, with leadership, with, who've been there and done that, those are golden nuggets for your organization. And then on the leadership front, Yanni was talking a little bit about leadership earlier. Leadership's vital. Again, I'm 48. I've been in business, my own company since I was 24. And I'm sure we can all raise our hands and agree that we've encountered people in organizations who are leaders, vice presidents, presidents, managers, whatever. And you say to yourself, you're like, how the heck did you get this position? Like, really? Is this nepotism at its finest? Is this like, I'm just bringing you up because you've been here for 12 years? Oh my gosh. Leadership is either going to make or break your organization. No two ways about it. The mindset of the leader. Like in my company, when I used to run my last one, when I ran it, I never had to put job offers out on Indeed, Zipper, any of those, because of our culture and the way we did things. I had people just coming in wanting to work for us because the word got out that, we brought in coaches, we brought in trainers, we had a great culture, we took care of people, we cared about our people. Heck, the owner's a Buddhist, for crying out loud. So yes, people first. People are what your organization is all about. And, the leadership is your example. They're going to make or break. So it's so critically important. So to what Yanni was saying, I can't emphasize enough. And that was one of the things that I always pushed in my companies is if I ever had someone in leadership who demeans someone, treats someone poorly, treated someone without respect, that's uncalled for. No, that's where there has to be those lines in the sand where everybody who's on your team, they feel safe, they feel appreciated, they know they don't go to work. No, they're going to the team meeting. I don't go to work 5 days a week. I'm on a team. So I don't know. I love this stuff, so I can talk all day on it. I think I made my point.
Well, you make a lot of sense, so we appreciate your input. Thank you. Thank you. Judy?
I have a question or two for Michelle.
Okay.
When you say you're in the hospitality business, do you get into property management at all?
Yes.
Where are you located? You don't have to tell me the name.
We're on North Lake Boulevard in West Palm Beach.
Okay, that takes care of that. Thank you anyway. Because I've been in property management for a long time, but I live down in Delray and I'm not doing the hike at this stage.
A little farther north and pretty far west.
I don't even know where North Lake Boulevard is.
Peter, I see you have your hand up.
Yes, good evening, everybody. I'm listening to all the comments that you're making, the wish list that you have, the encounters you've experienced with people that you have hired, want to hire, and so forth. How many of you have reached out to our transitioning military, our National Guardsmen, our reservists, and have you considered the attributes that they bring to the civilian workforce? And I have to be transparent because that's what I do. I and Rebecca, we both work through the Department of Defense and to help reservists and National Guardsmen connect with folks in the workforce. I'm sure that some of you have several, if not more, reservists and guardsmen there. And what can we do to connect with you, especially Shannon and others that have large companies? I've already talked to Katie a little bit about it. How can we work with you and, for example, see what you have under the USERRA laws and codes and what have you to bring those people in? Dynamic people. You know, did you all know that the government spends 100,000 or more to train some of these people? Now, most of us, I think, and at one time I was a culprit also, this is that, you know, we think, well, it's a private, a sergeant, something like that. But in reality, a lot of these people, they are bachelor's degrees, master's degrees. They also have PhDs, and they are phenomenal people that, you know, you look at them, what do they do in the military? They may be in logistics, but in reality, they may be CPA, they may be in accounting, they may be doing other things. Why not look and maybe let us help you with folks that are in the military? Just a thought.
Peter, I wanted to jump on that, if that's okay. Because I really think that what you're touching on is so critical to the same concept of looking at individuals, the mature worker. It's taking the skill set and the transferable skills that may not be as obvious, but are applicable, and looking at how the creative ways that Shannon, for example, has taken someone who has life experience and has, you know, a combination of other skills and attributes that they have gotten through their life, but finding a way to make that meaningful within the work context. And Peter, you know, for individuals transitioning from the military into the civilian world, you know, you're not going to find the same jobs that you do when you're in the military in the civilian world, but the skills and the leadership and the discipline and the focus and the maturity that you gain when you number one, have a military background, or number two, have experience in life and have maturity. Those are things that you bring to the table, and they're not necessarily they're not the obvious things where you're checking a box. I think, Jeffrey, you were talking about checking a box. You don't just check a box, you find the person that has those attributes, and then, like Shannon did, find a way to make their skills relevant within your employer context and be creative, because what you're getting with the individual is so much more than just maybe you know, one or two skills that they need to have. It's really who they are and what they bring to the table. So I think the challenge that you face is the same thing.
Yes, if I can just respond to you, Katie. You know, I've been talking in the past to HR people, and I said, well, how was you know, Captain Smith, or how was Colonel so-and-so? Well, he told me that he was part of an infantry division, and hey, those are just the guys with rifles and guns out there. And I said, wait a minute, that individual managed 300, 400 people. And every time they were always successful. Nobody ever got hurt, maybe an accident, what have you. But did you look at it that way? Or did you just look at it that they're out there with a rifle, shooting guns and what have you? No, these all have managerial skills. And throughout their military careers, they have great opportunities to advance in those career fields because they get free training, advanced training by our military. Reach out to them and let them touch you, and you can touch them.
See,
Shannon?
Shannon has her hand up. Shannon wants to respond. And before I turn it over to you, Shannon, I do want to mention, Peter, that this is exactly what Encore does. And so we'd like to be in touch with you after this as well.
Okay, I look forward to that, Christine. I assume you have my contact information. If not, I'll just post it on the chat.
If you could
Okay,
please
and
post it, Peter, because I'd like to connect also.
Yeah, and I see there's a few other people that want to connect with you as well, Peter. So you're in the right place, Peter.
Well, I noticed that. Shannon, you wanted to say?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm so happy that you brought this up. So, Peter, I am a daughter of a military soldier. I am a wife of a military soldier, and I am a sister of a military soldier. I am passionate about this. So, I found out that SHRM offers this unique opportunity to become a veterans ambassador through SHRM, and it's a certification, and I am a certified veterans ambassador. And one of those things that it does is it connects you to kind of a larger community, and of mostly, it's a veteran spouse that kind of runs this organization that kind of connects us and informs us about job fairs around the country and things like that. But what's really cool is no matter what your politics is, our governor is very proactive with things for the military. And in teaching in particular, if you have a retired military or retired any hero, what they would like firefighter, police, they have hero bonuses that they're offering for them to come into teaching. There's also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that you can actually become a teacher if you have a minimum, I believe it's off the top of my head, 8 years experience in the military. You can become a teacher, you sign a contract, and you can actually commit, even if you don't have a bachelor's degree, as long as you pass the test. So they're giving that infantry gentleman or woman an opportunity based on knowledge, not so much based on the piece of paper, that they will allow them to become a teacher if they do pass the test. Now, they do have a 5-year requirement of finishing their degree, but there's all these things in place to help them get that done. So there's some innovative thought about recognizing the experience that a veteran brings to the table. And it would be great for those folks to come into education and really help, shape those minds because of their life experience too. So I'm a huge fan. Any way we can bring in the military aspect is amazing. We recently, in the last 6 months, hired a retired woman. Her name is Joy. She's a retired veteran from the military, and she is now the head of our junior ROTC program. So there is lots of opportunities for folks that have those kind of skill sets, and they add so much value. Today, we just introduced a new gentleman. He actually lives in Palm Beach County, but he just got recruited up to us. He's working for one of our vendors, Kelly Educational Services, and he's retired 22 years with the military, and he served as a recruiter in the military. So now we've hired him on as a recruiter for Kelly Educational Services. So yes, thank you for bringing this important topic up, and I would be absolutely love to partner with you in any way I can.
I look forward to doing that also. And I'll just post my contact information, and love to hear from all of you. We do have a program. I don't know, Katie, if we talked about it, and that is Soldier of the Month. And what we're looking to do throughout the state of Florida, and I've already spoken to Marty about this, Marty Bryson, and I think Jacksonville has done one where if we have a reservist or guardsman that is unemployed, to come to a SHRM chapter like what you have in Palm Beach, and have that individual mentored by one of your volunteers at one of your meetings, to get up and do a 2-minute elevator speech about themselves. And you're all welcome to jump up and hand that individual your business card if it's somebody that you might feel you'd be interested in having. But there's a lot that we can all do together, and we really like to be able to work with Palm Beach SHRM. Thank you, Katie, for letting me have my 2 cents worth.
Well, so it's always a pleasure to bridge, the missions of the veterans community. Right now this call is dedicated towards recognizing the value of the mature worker, but I think that there are so many parallels in being able to identify and recognize the value of individuals that goes beyond, just the obvious. And to be able to have an organization, Rosemary, I know you created this, so I just have to do a shout out to you because I think you're amazing. And I think, and I'm so glad that Christine is continuing on. But what your organization has done by shining a light on the value of the mature worker and creating a platform for us to be able to recognize employers, which is really nothing more than a bright light on the topic. I mean, it is a chance to be seen in the community for the value that the mature worker brings. So I am tickled pink to talk more about this topic. I remember when I was new to the profession and I had to wear a business suit every day to try to pretend that I looked like I was older. I no longer have that problem. Now I wear different clothes to try to look younger. But let me tell you, there's different things that we bring at different phases of our life. And
Yes.
as I have matured and I have spent a lot of time trying to help the really younger and hungry professionals place a value on the mature worker, because I think it's probably one of the biggest mistakes that the youth make is not recognizing the value of the mature worker. And I remember when I was under age 40, I never understood why the EEOC defined discrimination above the age of 40. In my mind, it should be above the age of 50, right? Because to me, 40 wasn't really all that old. It was young. Now that I am on the other side, I see that discrimination actually happens pretty early. It's a little shocking at the shelf life in the minds of so many companies and people. So we need to just keep reinforcing the different values that different individuals bring, specifically the mature worker. So anyway, kudos to Encore. I just wanted to say.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we could wrap up any minute now because we're at 7:57. We do like to respect everyone's time. So if you ladies would like to share your final thoughts.
If I just like to share a quick little story, there was a question that was sent out earlier about, a few examples of those in the workplace. And we had 2 gentlemen that had retired, one at age 76 and one at 71. And they found that retirement life wasn't for them, that they didn't feel that they had a strong purpose of their day. So they've come back to work at our company to do meaningful work every day and to utilize their skill set and to really just pass that on to the younger generation. And they're so much more fulfilled in doing so. We are so happy to have them back. They're true leaders in that department.
See
That's awesome.
your contact information in chat. It's not
My-
there.
My
Oh.
contact?
That
Oh,
info.
Peter's.
Oh, Peter.
Yeah. I'm sorry. By the way, I tried to get and leave my contact information in chat, but it doesn't seem to want to take it. Is there any way that
What is it, Peter?
I'm sorry?
What is it? We'll get it in there.
Okay, my phone number is 305
Mhm.
97 4747. My email, and by the way, that's my cell phone number, so you can always text to me. My email is peter.caspari, just like you see on my little window, CASPARI, at Florida, spelled out, ESGR.com. So it's peter.caspari at Florida, ESGR.com. And our website is very easy. It is ESGR.mil, MIL. And by the way, we also give out awards. And the highest award that is given out by the Department of Defense, and I think, Katie, we've been talking about that, is the Freedom Award. There are only 14 awards given out each year, 2 to organizations over 500. There's one for under 500 and one for organizations. And it is the most prestigious award that can be given out to a civilian organization, something to really brag about. But anyway, really would like to connect with you folks, and you all have a great evening.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your input, Peter. And
You're welcome.
and Shannon, I'm going to get back to you, but before we close out, Encore has a very special announcement. We do have our Wisdom and Experience event for this year already scheduled for September 26th, and that is at the Hilton Airport. But we do have one of our board members, David. I saw your note. David, would you like to share what's coming up for Encore? David?
David, if you're talking, you're muted. Oh, there
Yeah,
you go.
sorry, I was just trying to unmute, but one of the things that we're working on is a certification of age-friendly employers. And I think that that's absolutely something that everybody on this email, on this webcast, should be interested in. We'll give you some more information about that, and we'll send out to everybody who participated in this event. But yes, like Christine said, we do a wisdom and experience recognition. This year it's in September, and we will send you out some additional information on that.
Thank you for sharing, David. And Shannon, before we close out, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I just thought, I just wanted to say that it's been an absolute pleasure reaching out and having an opportunity to talk to you guys, and just saying how much it matters that recognition of the older worker, mature worker, the depth of knowledge, the value that it holds, and just trying to remember and be encouraged to be innovative in thought on how you try to find them. Sometimes it matters to go to them if you really want that them to know that you're the type of employer that wants to hire them. But sometimes you're lucky enough to have them walk in the door. And I'd like to close with a fun fact. So I too looked at data because I love data. And one of the things I found out today, and I didn't know, but we have 2 employees that are over the age of 85 that work for our school district. And I was curious, I was like, what do they do? And so one of them happens to be a security guard, and the other one is in food and nutrition. So they love their job, and they're so glad they're there. And we're so grateful that they're there too. And honestly, I know them both, but I had no idea that they were over in their 80s. So anyway, that was a pleasant surprise.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Katie, would you like to wrap it up for us?
I would. Thank you so much. I'm cringing every time I look at my picture, and I'm frozen in some really weird face look, so I apologize. But I am so excited to have the engagement of everybody on the call today. I find that I get inspired when I hear other people's stories, and Shannon, you're inspiring. It's amazing. Michelle, I'm always in awe of you. You do just amazing things, and so grounded. I love the way you see the world, and I'm grateful to both Rosemary and Christine to be promoting the work of the mature worker. There are a lot of people participating on tonight's call for a reason. That means that the topic is relevant and meaningful, and people want to learn about it and learn more and talk about it. And it's through these exposure opportunities that we can broaden ourselves as professionals and make the work experience more meaningful. So I'm very proud to lead the Palm Beach County chapter in this type of initiative. I will tell you that this actual program, the Ask the HR Pro topic, is a result of the diversity team under the leadership of Karen Roberts, who's on our board. She's a past president of the chapter, and she can be credited for the idea with her team of having these Ask the HR Pros so that you can match emerging professionals with senior and experienced HR professionals to come together and both get and give ideas. And it's through this dialogue that I'm seeing here. This is just one of many ways that our chapter has been able to make available meaningful opportunities to grow and develop within our profession. So I'm super proud of just everything. Every time I participate in these events and I get to see the people who engage regularly. Yanni, I see you all the time. I see, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure Josette, I'm pretty sure you were on one of the last calls that we were on. I know, Michelle, you're at the meetings all the time. I just love reaching out and seeing everybody. Judy, you were on one of the recent calls, if I'm not mistaken. Your name looks familiar to me. But
I
anyway,
haven't been in a while.
well, then in that case, I have a good memory because, you know. But it is such a privilege to have partnered with Encore PBC and to be able to host this event. Every month, SHRM chapters offer chapter meetings. And the meeting, for example, with Kim Beckett being a presenter this last meeting is an example. But our chapter offers a number of different ways to reach out into the community and to make what we do relevant from a human resources standpoint. So thank you for the opportunity to partner with you from my heart. I'm so grateful. It's been a great year. 2024 is going to be awesome for SHRM. Peter, good luck. I hope you inspire someone who gets the Freedom Award in our community. You inspire us every single time. Where's Rebecca? You have to give Rebecca a kiss, just so
There
that
she
I
is.
know that you're sharing the love. That there has to be some sharing of the love in this world. So it's all good.
And if I just may jump in, we should be at your conference in May with a booth over there. So we'll be more than happy to talk with anybody at that event also. And
Thank
if
you
you
so
don't know about it, but Katie, you do, we have special Skittle bag openers or candy bag openers. So stop by our booth and we'll give that secret tool.
So that conference is coming up May the 28th and 29th. We've already identified 15 concurrent speakers with 3 keynote speakers, including Johnny C. Taylor. We're so excited to have him back. He's the president and CEO of SHRM. It's going to be a dynamic and fabulous program. Our chapter events are wonderful. Our next social event is going to be at the Winter Equestrian Festival in Wellington, Florida. We have chapter meetings. We've got diversity meetings. We've got virtual meetings. Our virtual meeting, oh, this is fabulous. It's on March the 14th, 3/14, as in Pi Day, National Pi Day, you know, pi as in 3.14159268, you know,
Yeah.
pi. And the topic is get an equal share of the pie, meaning equal pay for equal work. So we just are reaching out any way that we can. So thank you all so very much for participating. It is my honor and privilege to know each of you and to serve each of you. So on that note, have a wonderful night. Christine, you did an amazing job. Thank you so very
Thank
much.
you
Thank you,
all.
Thank you,
everyone.
Christine.
Pleasure.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.